So one day, one of my area managers came to see me and he asked me what he believed I thought he should do next. My answer really surprised him. One of the questions I'm getting asked more and more is, how do you retain people? Now, interestingly, I'm going to start with an example from my own leadership career where perhaps you shouldn't always look to retain people. You should help people fly the nest and soar to new heights elsewhere. So one day, one of my area managers came to see me. At this point, I was a general manager in the particular business I was involved with. And he was one of my top talents. And he sat down because he wanted some career advice. And he asked me what he believed I thought he should do next. My answer really surprised him. I told him that I thought he should leave. He was surprised. He said to me, "Well, I thought I was one of your top talents." To which I said, "You are." So he said, "So why do you think I should leave?" To which I said, "Well, the more senior roles to you are all filled. It's a new team and these individuals are likely to be in role for a period of time. The last thing I would want for someone as talented as you is that you start to get frustrated. You start to lose your edge. You start to get disappointed in me, the team, and the business. I'd be so much happier if we worked together and I helped you find your next opportunity outside of the team and the business." To cut a long story short, that individual moved outside the company. He also moved sector, and his career has gone from strength to strength to strength. He's now become one of my best clients of Gift 631. So sometimes you've got to think about the needs of the individual as opposed to the needs of the business. So one of my other fundamental beliefs as a leader, you've got to develop a talent factory mentality. I want to bring in new talent to the business. I want to do everything I possibly can to help that talent grow and develop and stretch. And then I'm really, really happy the talent then leaves the nest and soars new heights elsewhere, because that creates space to bring in the next generation of talent, and on we go. The other side of retaining talent are what are some of the things that we can and should do when it's not time for someone yet to fly the nest. The first thing I believe as a leader is you have to be present. I used to say the greatest gift you can give your people is your time. I've actually changed that. The greatest gift you can give your people is your presence. It's one thing giving time, but if you're totally distracted, what value does that add to the other person? And actually, what are you saying to the other person? So let's say you're distracted by your phone. What you're actually saying is your phone is more important than the person that you're speaking with. So I believe if you want to retain talent, you have to be present. You have to develop trust. You have to develop a relationship, and that's through strong communication. The second thing is you have to be prepared to listen, and listen to understand as opposed to listen to respond, to really understand the individual and what matters to the individual. So I love to do an exercise with all of my clients that I call the personal shield. And in essence, it's about enabling the individual to get a deeper understanding of themselves, and you, as their line manager, to do the same. Now you can find a separate gift bite on the YouTube channel where we purely talk about the personal shield exercise. But in essence, you're getting the individual to think about a few key questions. Why do you do what you do? What do you stand for? What are you really good at? What are your strengths? What are your superpowers? What are your work-ons? So this isn't necessarily just weaknesses that you're looking to develop. This could be a strength that the individual is working on to make it a superpower. Where are you going? So what are your goals, both short-term and long-term? And just for a little bit of fun at the end, we also ask the individual to think about a motto, a bit of compressed thinking that really sums them up. If you want to retain talent, if you think about that personal shield, you're getting a deeper understanding of why somebody wants to do what they want to do or what they're currently doing. You get to understand more in terms of their value set. Brilliantly, you get to understand their strengths and their superpowers. If you want to retain talent, how can you get them using those strengths, using those superpowers more often? Is there any projects you can get them involved in so they're going to feel more engaged? So there's a higher chance that you're going to retain them. Equally, you're going to understand their work-ons. So you can have a really powerful personal development conversation. I believe a critical part of retention is, yes, it's about showing you're invested, it's showing you're committed, but showing you're passionate about growing the individuals. And if you run a scale team, a big team, you can create things like this. This was my 2009 Guide to Winning, which was just packed with little stories, articles, which I would share with all of the people within my business to show I was committed to their growth, their development. And it was a personal touch. Had a picture of 3 of my 4 children on the front, for example. Had some personal articles from myself, by myself, but also lots of other people who contributed to this. So it was a personal commitment to the individual and the team development. And I think development is a critical part to retention. And finally, I think a critical part of retention is to understand what you need to get out of the way, what you need to remove, to understand the interference, if you like, to understand people's hassles. If you can get more of low value work, interferences, the things that are stopping people, if you can get that out of the way, you're far more likely for that individual to be engaged, to feel they're being listened to feel they're growing, to feel they're developing, and crucially, they're doing more high value work. So work that makes a difference to them, it makes a difference to the customers, it makes a difference to the team and the business. So there's a selection of ideas that I believe you can think about where you want to really retain your top talent. I'd love you to take at least one idea from this and think about it as part of your next Mozart Time session. If you're getting tremendous value from this content, please hit subscribe and we'll see you at the next one.